Welcome to the Scottish Rite Journal podcast, an audio presentation of the Scottish Rite Journal, brought to you by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction, Mother Supreme Council of the World. This week's article is Albert Pike's Prodigal Lost Words, The Porch and the Middle Chamber, by Brother William Parks, 33rd degree, and comes from the November-December 2023 issue of the Scottish Rite Journal. This gigantic tome, compiled on behalf of the Scottish Rite Research Society and Masonic Book Club, will nourish the souls of Masonic ritualists for decades to come. Its provenance is curious indeed. Scottish Rite Blue Lodge degrees have existed since their creation by French Masons in 1804 in the July-August issue of the Scottish Rite Journal. Illustrious Arturo de Hoyos, 33rd degree, Grand Cross, Grand Archivist, and Grand Historian, expounded on the history of Albert Pike's creation and its disappearance from the Masonic eye for 150 years. Illustrious de Hoyos explained that Pike developed his own craft ritual after having revised the 4th through 33rd degrees. Its purpose was to provide a perfect foundation for the revised degrees. Out of respect for the adherence of nearly all American Grand Lodges to the York Rite, Pike and the Supreme Council distributed a few copies to Lodges of Perfection for study only. When it learned that one Lodge of Perfection had exemplified Pike's craft degrees, the Supreme Council removed the rituals from circulation. Yet now the scripts, available at long last, compel attention and stun the reader with Pike's own words intended to inculcate his views of Masonic morality and friendship. The floorwork moves solemnly, slowly, and majestically. The officers' parts are firmly articulated, and the swordplay described is complex and riveting. The words overwhelm, not in terms of the contemporary reader's ignorance or unfamiliarity with the words, but in the sense that the words themselves penetrate the consciousness and conscience of the reader with their weighty mandates. 20th century Scottish Rite admittees who have missed exposure to Pike's elaborate ritual structure that used words like poniard and sagacity can now feast on his labyrinthine indulgence in logic, rhetoric, and grammar, the lost words of initiation. One should begin with small doses, a few paragraphs and pages at a time. Let us begin with a civics lesson. From moral rectitude and the wisdom that teaches love and faith result the perfection of the individual man and the interpenetration of the human by the divine, and from justice and wisdom results good government in the state. Rule, order, justice, rectitude in dealing with other nations, inflexible adherence to sound policy, stability in measures, consistency and absence of vacillation in legislation. These in a state are symbolized by the scale, the law of merit and demerit, reward for the worthy and punishment for the unworthy, office and honor to the best, a scale of honors according to merit, and wisdom, prudence, foresight and forethought, toleration, general and liberal, and enlarged policy as to matters at home and abroad. Lenient indulgence tempering strict justice are symbolized by the compass. Again, the divine interpenetrating the human by the rule, law, by the compass, equity. As a bonus, Pike sprinkles his convoluted inculcations with memorable maxims, such as, every man and every people, without fixed principles, is like a vessel without a rudder or compass, beaten by baffling winds. Pike's craft ritualists let their candidates know what they should practice and hold dear. Truth is omnipotent and eternal. Far from this Masonic hall be ever all guile and deceit, all pretense and hypocrisy. May these never intrude within its doors, but there let stand as constant tilers, sincerity and frankness, earnestness and plain dealing. To Pike, virtues come with capital letters. The reader may feel a spark of inspiration as Pike reminds his candidates that vice as well as virtue need definition and clear-eyed recognition. Avarice has, in all ages, been deemed an ignoble vice. Like the process of petrification, it turns the heart to stone. When it has become the tyrant, all the kindly sympathies that tie man to man die out. When the disease infects a whole people, they seem insane. Health, comfort, home affections, the improvement of the intellect, rest and recreation, patriotism and charity, all alike cease to be cared for. Pike amazes with the persistent contemporary relevance of his perceptive observations of the human condition. Accordingly, free of avarice himself, the Mason should endeavor to shame into deeds of benevolence those who are not so. Even the duty of the worshipful master includes strict compliance. As the sun stands in the gates of the morning to open the day and dispel the darkness, so stands the most worshipful master in the east to open and instruct his lodge and cause the good to triumph over evil. This encompasses more than instructions for labor. This provides lessons to be followed as far beyond the lodge walls as every brother travels. In addition, the words Pike uses to differentiate good from evil, virtue from vice, and merit from dishonor remind the reader of those powerful words' regrettable absence from contemporary speech, conversation, and oratory. Pike challenges his candidates to strictly follow the precepts he lays down with strong, meaningful words too much forgotten, too often ignored, and therefore lost from daily application. This is tough talk, communicated in layer upon layer, lest the words' meaning and ultimately the words themselves get lost and no longer guide, lead, inspire, and achieve. By restoring from the darkness Pike's lost words, illustrious DeMolay has endowed the craft and the rite with plenty of potential programs that, when presented and disseminated, will enhance Freemasonry's ability to make good men better. Stick a random finger between the pages of Pike's colossal book just about anywhere to call up his commanding, inspiring, normative words. Illustrious DeMolay again deserves the gratitude of Freemasonry for expanding the fraternity's understanding of its function, its value, and its power to improve their lives and the lives around them. Like and share this article, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you wish to comment, please leave one, and as a reminder, hit the notifications bell. Any accompanying photographs or citations for this article can be found in the corresponding print edition. The Scottish Rite Journal is published by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction, Mother Supreme Council of the World. Mark Dreisenstock, 33rd degree, Managing Editor. I'm your host, Matt Bowers.